Hey everyone, welcome back to Unboxing the Underground. I am absolutely ecstatic to welcome to the channel legendary indie scream queen Tina Krause. She is an actress with well over 140 credits to her name, including Psycho Sisters and Sorority Slaughter, just to name a couple. And she is also the writer-director behind 1999's Limbo, which was released on Blu-ray by the American Genre Film Archive and is available on all streaming platforms. Tina, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, my kitchen's a mess. You caught me out trying to make dinner.
All good. It's that time of night.
Who knew? I actually cooked myself. Good.
So I'll start off with one of the questions you've probably gotten many times, and the story really is the stuff of legend. But for the people who might not be aware, can you talk a little bit about how you were first discovered and what led to your first acting role?
Okay, so how I was first discovered was because of a breakup, if you can believe that. And yeah, he broke up with me, so cool. I'm big enough to admit it, but I had his freaking tickets. So, and it was the first horror convention. I had never been to one in my entire life. So, my sister wanted what did she want? The the Jason mask. So she wanted that. So I was like, okay, great. We'll go and find out where we can get that. And I had these tickets to the Chiller Convention when it used to be in Hackensack. It used to be in the college. So what is it, Fairleigh Dickinson, I think, but fairly ridiculous because their prices are crazy. Um,
They still
but
are.
uh, yeah, so I took her. I pretty much after he broke up with me, I never gave him the tickets back. And I took my sister instead, and we went and got her mask. And during that time, I ran into, which I now have worked for many, many, many years, W.A.V.E. Productions. And my very first acting in a horror movie was that right then and there at the convention. And I remember it because they asked me, they were like, "Are you an actress?" And I was like, "No." And they were about to walk away. And I had said, "Well, if I lie and say that I am, are you going to give me a part?" And they were like, "Yeah, right now." And I'm like, this is such bullshit. I can't believe this is happening. And it did. And there you have it. Yep, take a chance.
And now from there, you said you got involved with Wave Productions. Those are also the stuff of legend, and thankfully, many of them have survived, and they're now being put out onto disc and physical media and streaming platforms. I've seen, quite a few of them, as many as I possibly could have. Um,
Right.
there's a lot of them, so I'm still working on the
So
ladder.
much the brain can take.
What were you kind of told about Wave Productions when you first got involved with it? Like, were you told what the films entailed, and what are some of your favorite memories of making those?
So no one ever told me anything about Wave. I just it just kind of fell in there. And at the time it was Gary and Sal that were doing it. And they were kind of like they were a duo that just they remind me of the Odd Couple, I swear to God. But in doing so, Sal pretty much laid out what these films were not. Don't expect to be, a fucking superstar or anything like that. They're just schlocky, stupid, whatever, yada yada yada. And I saw a couple of them, and to me, it was like, this is so dumb that it's like the easiest money in the world. How can you not like? It's easy. Um, but in doing so, I wound up making some friends, which I still have to this day. And I adore them, and they really are just like another part of a family to me. So like Dina Demko um, and of course Debbie D. Like I see her on. I actually hang out with her from time to time. I go down to Philly. We go and get a couple of drinks, dinner, shoot the shit. She still has to come up here and go down to the beach with me. This girl. But they wound up becoming really good friends of mine, and we have like there was a film that we did that I swear I can't to this day I can't watch it because I just start laughing. It's Lightning and Thunder. I don't know if you've ever seen it where we
I've
play
heard of it.
superheroes and I'm the idiot. I'm always playing the idiot. And I mix up everything and ruin everything and get us all in trouble all the time. So, and mix up words and spells and whatever. Right. But every time we did that, it was just the stuff that would come out of our mouths for like, it wasn't scripted. So all of that was really just ad lib. And it was, I just think of the dumb shit. Like sometimes you couldn't even finish a scene because we were laughing so hard. You'd be like, all right, stop it. Do this. So yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. Another time I got pulled over by the cops. Um, I was covered in blood for one of the wave things where I get killed, whatever. Anyway, at the time, Gary's studios were in like a strip mall. So there was no showers. And you couldn't really wipe that shit off. It was like I was like, oh my God, I just gotta drive home and get this off of me, right? So I was like, nobody's gonna notice. I have tinted windows, but it was freaking hot that day. It's the summertime. So I had the windows rolled down. And of course, a cop looks over and sees me, pulls me over. He's like, what is going on? And I'm like, no, no, I'm not hurt. He's like, you're covered in, like, he's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, it's fake blood. I was in a movie, and then he starts talking to me. Oh, in the movies, and like just kept going on and on. And I'm like, I really want to go because this stuff is sticky and gross. I'm like, can I leave? So yeah, we have memories like that. There's plenty of times the cops knocked on their studio because we were screaming because we're being killed. I was being roasted. That's yeah, I forgot the name of that one too. Um, so he's like, yeah, it's a cannibal one. You're gonna be roasted. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, so he brings out, I swear to God, man, he brings out a heating thing. So you know how it turns like red, like a toaster oven would, like a toaster oven would do, right?
Right.
And he brings that out. He's like, that's gonna be the fire. I'm like, what? And he's like, we're gonna tie you to the spigot, and then I'm just gonna put barbecue sauce all over you, and then you'll look like you're being roasted. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever in my life. So, of course, naturally, I'm in like a G string with like, all this shit all over me. And the cops come. They come because I'm screaming because I'm being burned to death, right? So yeah, they come, and what does Gary do? Instead of just like being like, okay, go outside and deal with them, he throws a blanket over me. So now I'm covered in barbecue sauce. It's hot, and there's a blanket over me, and I'm just like, you don't think the cop's gonna ask what's under the blanket? I'm like, I just know. So
Now,
yeah,
if you're referring, I think to, is this Dinner for Two or Cannibal Doctor? I've seen both of these.
I can't remember which one it is. It's one of those.
Mhm.
Whenever I get roasted, on a spigot, that's the one.
With the production of these films, did they vary in terms of like the timeline of making these, or are these all kind of shot very kind of quick and dirty and turn them around as quickly as possible?
Quick, dirty turnaround as quickly as possible. Yeah, mostly done that day.
Hmm.
Finished. Finito. I don't really, there might have been one or two that it took longer than one day to make, but mostly it's just right then and there, and then he edits it, and that's the end of that. Sometimes it's two a day.
And then they would be mailed out to whoever ordered it or whoever requested it.
Whoever wrote it, all right, or whoever gave Gary the idea, that person, okay, they get their film, whatever, and then he puts it on his catalog of, Wave Productions catalog of the worst films ever made in life. But for some reason, they caught on. I mean, like, I don't know any other distributor like his, any of the filmmakers like him who has the following that he has. It's fucking crazy. I'm saying it. It's fucking crazy. Who knew?
And I think it's mostly because they're so out there. Like they really feel like, they've been made by aliens or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
There's a quality to them that is outer worldly and at that same time extraordinarily compelling.
Yeah. Like I hung jury. Like who the fuck? And then oh God. Okay. So we get what is it? Rana, Queen of the Jungle. Like what? You know, there are these like poison flowers that grow, they're plastic flowers that he sprayed with spray paint. But I mean, like, who comes up with this? Like, who? And then you've got the paintings that come alive and a snake comes out of it and eats somebody. Like, who? What is going on? Where? In what lifetime? Like, when do we have female Nazis that only wear t-shirts? Okay. With I'm sorry, what is it? Sock stockings up to their knees, and like I just the wardrobe, it's incredible. You gotta love it.
And every one of them is unique and different. Not none of them are the same. None of them.
No, 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 not one of them. You got the time traveler. Why is he in a loincloth? Like I don't understand.
Now, last night, I recently watched Limbo, probably for the first time in a few years. And I was, as I always am, absolutely captivated by how nightmarish your vision was for that film, and how it really uses the shot on video format to its advantage. It just makes it absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about, like, how did you conceive that film? What led to that up until that point?
So I was always a big fan of David Lynch, God rest his soul. And also really big on Nine Inch Nails, believe it or not. And a lot of their videos were really like I went to art school. I was big on H.R. Geiger and all of, whatchamacallit, the other guy too. There's another Patrick Woodworth and oh my God, I forgot the other dude's name. In any case, but I had a I had a big thing for this Peter Joel Wickens. He's a photographer, okay, and his brother used to teach at SVA, I believe. I was really big into his work, and a lot of that stuff had very nightmarish carnival qualities to it, and it just stuck with me. I used to have like horrendous nightmares about hell and what hell like going to it, like really, really bad nightmares. So basically that film was supposed to be a vampire film, but I fucking hate vampire movies and I wasn't going to do another one. So I did talk the guy into like, well, we'll just make it a vampire that goes to hell. Basically, it's really just about this woman who has done such bad things that she is going through purgatory at the moment and on her way, you know, the choice to either, ask for forgiveness and admit or continue on down a path that you claim that your righteous is on you. See where it goes. That's pretty much how that got made.
Now, when you finished production on that, what was the journey like to actually finishing the film as far as post-production? Because we're talking about shooting on video and editing on video, and what was that like?
Oh, wow. That took a while. As you probably know, I lost some cast members, so I had to recast, which is fine. You know what happens. But then I had to rewrite around it too. So I was just like, oh, shit. Right. We um we used all practical effects because I'm gonna tell you right now, our editing was literally deck to deck, and I used a Fisher Price toy to do the smooth changes on it, and that's it. So that's a was a long, long, tedious process. I was just like, shit, it'd be so much easier if we just had fancy effects, but we don't. So yeah, lighting was done like on camera. Everything was done on camera. Really, the only thing that would be outside is that is just trying to put the music, to all of it and, and trying to get everything to like work, move. Because yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot.
And especially given like the lo-fi nature of it, well, I'm watching it again. I'm just like how it must have been, as you said, the most tedious process in the world to actually not only put it together, but do it in a way that is coherent and makes sense as a story. Now, I don't actually know the answer to this. What was the original distribution for that film like? Because obviously we know it now through, the recently released Blu-ray. How did it first go to audiences initially?
Well, I will be honest with you. I never intended to distribute this. I did this as a fucking revenge film. I was really pissed off at somebody's comment, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll show you." Not only will I show you, but I will show you how much better. I'm gonna take it right to the max. Somebody had told me a while back, and I'm not gonna mention names only because it's just not in my nature to do so. But if I ever see that motherfucker, I'll probably punch him in his eye. So he said it to my face that um no particular females can really be taken serious as directors, and especially hard directors. And on top of it, in particular, be queens. How could you ever think that you'll ever be taken seriously in anything in the film industry, even acting? That's what he said to my face.
Wow.
And I said, you can go fuck yourself because your fucking movie, not film, because it really, really sucks, is so fucking boring and stupid that you couldn't direct your way out of a paper bag if Martin Scorsese gave you fucking directions and there were arrows pointing out. That's what I said. And then I made the film. So after
Um,
I made it, I just showed it in the warehouse that I shot it in, which is where I was living. I actually lived in the space that we shot. So, and they had a big party for the cast, crew, and anybody who wanted to show up. And it was just, I did it for 3 days. And that's basically the only time until many years later, I get the oddest phone call and email. And I'm like, this can't be right. And yeah, then it went into distribution. So there
did
you
you
go.
find yourself having to like dig out the original masters and like did you have all the material ready for them to mess with it?
I just gave them the finish. I had it on a DVD,
Hmm.
and I gave them that, and I was just like, "Here it is. This is everything." And I gave them also I gave them the original whatchamacallit, VHS tape, so that if they wanted to do anything, they can do it. I was like, if you want to make it, whatever, but this is what it is, and I gave it to them, and now it went out, Blu-ray and la la la. Everything else that's on it.
Was it strange for you to revisit it this many years later? Like, do you recognize the sort of person who made it, and all your friends are in it?
um, it's funny because my sister's in it, my parents are in it, my some of my camera crew's in it. Um, and it was cool to see it because like many years later, I see some of these people, not all of them, obviously, but I see some of these people and I can see like the change, like, and remembering how fucking crazy we were and what stupid shit we did because we really did, like, we could have gotten killed so many times. Like, I can't even begin to tell you some of the scenes and all the nut jobs that were on that set because there was a lot of crazy. My crew was nuts. Um, and yeah, I miss it. But when I see it, I just relive it again, and it's like one of the happier times I've had in my life, the things that would, even though it was so hard and frustrating and like we were up to like 5 o'clock in the morning starting again early and all this, all that shit. But no, we also had some crazy times too. Like there's one scene where my sister, she was only like what, 15 when she did that. She really did get drunk. She really was drunk in that scene. She
Wow.
really was drinking margaritas. I was like, oh no, she's not gonna be able to remember her lines, but it worked out fine. So yeah, there were things that we did. We did get stuck in the basement of the warehouse because I did not know that on the weekend the power goes out. Once it goes down to the bottom, it doesn't reconnect until Monday. And I don't know. I had to climb out. Yeah.
Just true guerrilla indie filmmaking.
Yeah, the cops got called to our building because my special effects guy, we had the one scene where the you remember the Jesus Christ figure gets her torso torn open? Okay. So he really did, he's an amazing special effects dude. Amazing. But that night ran into about four something, almost 5 o'clock in the morning. The cleaning crew comes in at 9. I told them to clean it up really carefully because this is in Jersey City when Jersey City was really bad. to live in. There are crimes all the fucking time. Like, and I lived in a building where they would hide bodies. So I'm just like, you've got to clean this up. Well, the next morning, there are a shit ton of cops and everything. So I was like, I wake him up. I'm like, hey, I'm like, did you clean up that? He's like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. He's like, I cleaned it up. I was like, I'm like, because it was awfully fast and it was a lot of blood. I'm like, he's like, no, 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 no. He's like, I found like a miracle way to clean it up. And I was like, what? He's like, there was an old mattress in the dumpster. He's like, I just threw that on top of it and absorbed all the blood, and then I threw it in the dumpster. I'm like, oh, now these guys think like someone got murdered in their bed. Like, oh, they were knocking on everybody's door. I'm sure once they took it into forensics, they found out that that was not, that was sugar. And then, like what probably wasted everybody's time. He was probably, I'm sure the cop was pissed. I have no doubt.
Was the case of the century until it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. Like, who's a fucking jerk off who did this, So yeah. So there's times like that. But no, I look at that movie now, and I'm like, wow. I remember seeing it on the big screen for the first time, like actually seeing it in a movie theater, because I had never actually seen it in a movie theater. And the first time I did, and I was just like, it hits you like a freight train. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, damn. I don't know that I could make a second one, just because how the fuck am I gonna outdo that? Like, but maybe one day. We'll see.
Switching gears a little bit more to your acting. You've done so many different films and so many different budgets and genres and scopes and sizes of projects. What kind of captures you when you're reading a script or you're being asked to look at a project?
Um, so when I'm reading the character, if the character is like super interesting, has different facets, or and I know the acting's going to be harder, but for me, it's more of the challenge, because you get tired of playing the same stupid thing. Like, yeah, I don't want to die anymore. I'm good. But no, like I like characters that like really they're challenging. They got different facets. They give you multitudes, because it gives me a chance to like pull out different things, and I'll play with that. I'll dance with that for a little bit. You know, see what happens. That's just I mean, honestly, acting is not, everybody's always like, oh, it's just pretending. And I'm like, no, it's really not. I'm like, it's all different facets that you have. And if you're one faceted, you're probably bad actor and boring as shit. I'm like, so like just pull out everything. Like, pull out all the stops. Yeah, I could be fucking mean. I could be an asshole. I could be a cunt, a whore, a bitch. I could be really sweet as hell. I could be fucking crazy. I could be out of my mind. I mean, like, whatever. Like, I just think if I see something where a character has like a lot of different sides to it, that's usually the draw.
Mhm.
Usually.
Now, if you had to put a really fine point on it, what draws you to horror in general as an actress and a filmmaker? Again, you've worked across all genres, but I would say you firmly cemented your place in the horror lexicon. What's kind of kept you there?
Um, I guess it's personal. I like it. I'm looking for the perfect horror film. I'm looking for the scariest thing. And I don't mean like it doesn't have to be a gore fest or anything like that, but I I have to find something that fucking scares me, and I'm still looking for it. Came close once, but it's got to be. Yeah, I like they're I'm just attracted to it. I always been ever since I was a kid. That's probably my dad's fault, but and probably my mom's too, because she loves like Friday the 13th and fucking Freddy Goes to Hell or whatever. And the Hammer films. And my dad's like he's more of like Videodrome and all that crazy shit. Yeah, I don't know, all that stuff. But he's always been a big Fangora nut, and he's always gotten like I want to say always gotten me the magazines and things like that, and we'd be up late at night watching stuff I wasn't supposed to watch because my mom found out that would be it. And of course, it gave me nightmares. So there you have it. And then Limbo was born. There you go. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just the draw that it's always been in my, been around me since a kid. So there you
Um,
have it.
as a filmmaker, you alluded to it briefly, but do you have any plans for another directorial work in the future?
Oh yeah.
How much can you tell us about it?
All right, so I have like three scripts that I've written. One short right now that I am planning to shoot after the summer. Okay. The last short that I did, it won the film festival. So the Shakagoga Film Festival. So I'm gonna do another one. And then the other two are features. One is Bug House, and it's really about these people who, they're influencers, podcasters, and they want to do explore abandoned buildings, and that's their big, thing. But what they don't realize is the place that they're exploring, this nut house that's been abandoned for years, the nuts never left. They still live there, and they're in there, and they don't appreciate visitors. We'll leave it at that. And then the Sundowners is kind of the sequel to that. But now all of those crazy people have now grown a town and they live in this town in the middle of nowhere. And it just so happened that these two guys who are vigilantes, they kind of wind up in this town and it gets pretty wild. Gets pretty wild.
Kick ass.
Breaks down and it's wait, basically the whole town goes crazy after 6 o'clock. And then they're back to normal when the sun rises. Sundowners. There you go.
And that's what's next for you. So as a wrap up, for people who want to support your work and see what you're up to and follow all of these great projects that you have down the pike, where can they find your work?
Oh, you just basically go on Instagram. So it's Space Monkey 7777. The seven lucky numbers. There you go. Jackpot. Um, yeah, go into that. And then Facebook, Tina Krause. I think the number is 1429. They always give you some little number there. 1429. I'll play those numbers. Maybe I'll win. Uh, but yeah, that you could just check that. And yeah, we're always updating stuff and wherever, blah, blah, blah. Other than that, that's where I'm going to be for a little bit.
Awesome. Well, Tina, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I know you're in the middle of making dinner. I'm a huge fan. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Great to talk to you.
All right, same here, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye.